But Honorable, you keep calling this an ambush, and yet we know that this law came to Parliament from 2009. This law was a number of times on the order paper, but they did not reach it, and so it wasn't discussed. So members of Parliament had already prepared for this law. They had already read the report, the minority and the majority report, and yes, they were competent enough to discuss it on this day.
No, I've just informed you that that's not how we conduct business in Parliament. The way we conduct business in Parliament is that we, as members of Parliament, we are not only preoccupied with work in the House, but sometimes we also have work outside the House or even outside the country. So it's only civilized that you give notice to members who are sometimes in the House or sometimes outside the House, so that they can make time within their busy schedules to prioritize business. So that is how we conduct business in the House. And this time round, it was the opposite. So, but I think that's not the most important thing, because these are technicalities. I want to, first of all, inform all of us that the issue of same-sex marriage should not be mistaken to mean that the Bahati Bill, as it's famously referred to, that this is the bill that is going to stop same-sex marriage. That's not true. And that's what the proponents of the bill have made the people to believe. Article 31 2A of the Constitution is very clear on same-sex marriage, that is prohibited. And this was in the 1995 version, and when we actually amended the Constitution in 2005, that was one of the articles that we did not tamper with. Now, for every provision of the Constitution, there must be an act of Parliament that operationalizes the intent of that particular clause. And in this case, the Penal Code, that is a piece of law that came into being in the 60s, and since then we have amended it several times. The recent time being 2007, actually prescribes punishment for anybody who attempts to exercise same-sex marriage or attempt to marry a person of the same sex. The Penal Code from sections 145 through section 150, we could go on up to section 390 that talks about conspiracy to commit homosexuality or to have sex against the order of nature, as actually the Penal Code describes it. That should be borne in mind. So the fallacy that this bill is the one that is bringing on board, is bringing to birth, a prohibition is not correct. Secondly, I have liked the debate around this bill because it has, to me, made some of us understand the mentality among the African people. I believe that the proponents of this bill believe that homosexuality is a new phenomenon, that it has never existed before, and that it's something that is being imported into this country. And I take a strong departure
from that. Actually, they say that it existed. What did not exist were the rights of homosexuals. In fact, in the words of Pastor Martin Sempa, who we had on this show last week, actually said that what we had was homosexuality as a vice and not a right. Now, what you're seeking to do, what you and some MPs are seeking to do, according to Pastor Sempa, is that you're trying to make homosexuality a right, and yet Africans have always known it as a vice.
I'm not one of those who is a proponent of homosexuality being a right. I actually think that it's a vice, and that if it is, like I believe, then these are people who need to be helped. That's why I'm against anybody who wants to persecute somebody who needs help. I want to liken this. Anyway, let me say that our diagnosis of problems as Africans has always been one thing. We always think that if you disagree with somebody, then you must make a law that punishes that somebody. And I believe that's not how you govern society. I want to give you a court ruling. There's a court ruling that was made by Justice Mulenga of the Supreme Court in the case of Andrew Mwenda and Charles Onyango Bo versus the Attorney General. He states that the duty to protect those who we do not agree with is a duty we have over and above protecting those that we agree with. And it goes on and on, but I just want to stop there in the interest of time. These are people we don't agree with, but the duty for us to protect them goes above the duty for those who are already converted with us. They are with us. They are flocking with us. And the art of society is that we always try to bring to the fold those who do not agree with us. But the spirit of this bill is that we should expunge these people, or we should actually punish them. And I want to believe that these are people who need to be helped.